I'm Angela Pavlitsky from Amplify Pilates in Chicago. We're super excited to be joining you for the RBC Race for Kids with your Pilates workout for this week. If you've never done Pilates before, don't worry. I'm going to give cues and options, but Pilates is based a lot around your core strength, working in proper alignment. Today's focus is going to be a little bit more abs and then glutes and hips heavy, but that's not to say you don't work your arms in Pilates. That's just going to be our focus on class today. You don't need anything but your body. A mat on the floor is great. If you are doing this on hardwood floors, I would definitely put some kind of exercise mat down, maybe a towel underneath it so it has a little bit of cushion. If you're on carpet, you might just be able to be fine on carpet. You're not going to need any props except for a hand towel. So if you want to go grab a hand towel, just something that's a little bit wider than shoulder width, we're going to use that to stretch out at the end. And other than that, I'm going to give options during the workout because I want you to pick what's best for your body. So option 1 is going to be your easier option. Option 2 is going to be a little bit harder. So definitely always start with option 1 just to make sure that you feel the right muscles working. And then if you feel like you can kick it up a notch and challenge yourself, then definitely attempt that option 2. Other than that, I'm not going to play any music just because I want to make sure that you can hear me, but also everyone's music style and taste is different. So feel free to turn on whatever tunes and jams make you happy, and we'll get moving. So I want you to start laying down on your back. We're going to find hip width apart with your feet, and your arms are just going to settle down by your side. And we're going to start with something called your pelvic tuck. So right now your pelvis should be nice and heavy in the mat. There should be a little bit of space underneath your lower back in the mat. Just enough room for some ladybugs to kind of crawl around. That's what we call your neutral pelvis. Then from there, I want you to take your pelvis and we're going to tuck it. So we're going to tuck our pubic bone towards our nose. That's belt buckle to nose. Feel your lower back press into the mat. So you're kind of smushing your ladybugs. And then release the tailbone back down so you're back to neutral. You make room for those ladybugs to crawl around. Repeat that again. Tuck your pelvis, think belt buckle to nose, smushing the lower back into the mat, and then release that back down. And that's all we're starting with. So you're kind of taking a small pelvic rock, lifting your butt 1 or 2 inches up, and rolling back down. It's not necessarily a full bridge, just a small little tuck and a release. Now as we do this, you're going to feel a little bit in glutes and hamstrings, but I want you to concentrate on the tuck coming from your lower abs. So think about zipping up the lower abs like you're trying to zip up a tight pair of jeans the day after Thanksgiving. 4 more here. This is a great exercise for spinal and back health. You should feel a nice stretch through the lower back. 1 more. Now take the hips up a little bit higher. So we pass through that pelvic tuck into your full bridge at the top. Now once your hips are high up off the mat, feel your triceps pressing into the mat. Let's check in with our legs. They should be tracking hip width apart. So you got weight in your big toe, your pinky toe, and your heels. Take a big breath in here at the top, and then as you exhale, slowly melt down. 1 vertebra at a time. Tailbone goes all the way heavy in the mat, so again, you make room for the ladybugs underneath the lower back in the mat. Roll your hips back up. When you get to the top, feel the hip flexors opening, knees reaching over your toes. Roll it back down. Tailbone goes heavy. We got 8 more. Roll it up, pushing down, big toe, pinky toe, and heels. Back down. Now if there's any pressure in the lower back, try to not come up as high. Roll it up. Think about reaching your glutes towards your calves, knees over toes, abs to heart. 1 more here. Roll it up. Now when we get to the top, I want you to stay there. Hold your hips up nice and high and just freeze here. We start to dip the hips 1 or 2 inches down. Push the hips 1 or 2 inches back up to the ceiling. Dip the hips and lift the hips. Now these little pulses, these little dips, we're going to be here for 30 seconds. I know it's tempting to go fast, but try to slow it down a little bit. And think about keeping the weight even in both feet. Now option 2, you want a harder option. Float the arms up to the ceiling, but make sure they're strong and active. I want you to think of them as kind of uncooked spaghetti noodles versus cooked spaghetti noodles being nice and loose. Press. Inhale as you dip, exhale, press. Inhale, dip, exhale, press. You got 5 more seconds here, then we're going to roll down and move on. We got 3, 2, hold it up, roll it down 1 vertebra at a time. Once you're down, let your tailbone go nice and heavy in the mat. Try to make room for those little bit of ladybugs. Now we're going to bring our legs up to what we call tabletop. So I float my knees up, I get my knees directly over my hips and my feet are in line with my knees. So you wanna make sure your feet are not here. They're right in that full tabletop position. Now option 1, I want you to let your knees come over your belly button and let your lower back press into the mat. That's gonna be a little easier on our lower back. Option 2, shift the knees over your hips and try to keep the room for the ladybugs under the lower back of the mat. From here, we're gonna start to float just your left foot down towards the mat. Use your abs and lift the left leg back up to that tabletop. Then the right leg goes down. Use your abs, lift it back up. Left leg. So as we're alternating legs, I want you to pay attention to trying to do the work from your core. So let's actually take our hands, put one hand above your belly button and one hand below your belly button. And I want you to think about pulling your abs away from your hands as the leg comes back up to tabletop. Versus just dropping your feet and making this a leg exercise. Focus on using the abdominals to lift the leg up. Breath-wise, do whatever works for you, but again, abs doing the work. So I almost like to imagine that it's like you go fishing. You kind of catch the fish here at the bottom. Now your abs are the reel. You reel that leg back up to tabletop. One more each side. Right side to finish. And rest. You can give your knees a good hug towards your chest, a little rock side to side. So we're gonna plant the feet down on the mat so they're hip width apart. Arms are just down by your side, and we're gonna take a little ab curl. So curl your head and shoulders up, gaze in towards your belly. Now take your hands and grab on behind your thighs. I want you to bend your arms and pull yourself up another inch or two higher. Try to stay that high. Let go and reach for your calf muscles. Then float your head and shoulders back down. We're gonna do that again. Curl up, grab on behind the thighs, bend your arms and pull yourself up an inch or two higher. Let go, reach for your calf muscles, float the head and shoulders back down. Repeat, head and shoulders up, grab on behind the thighs, pull yourself up another inch or two higher. Let go, reach for your calves, float back down. One more like that, and I'm gonna give you an option to make it a little bit harder. Reach and lower. So stick with that if that's hard enough. If not, don't grab onto your thighs. Curl it out. Option 2, no hold. Reach, try to touch your calves, float back down to release. Repeat. We curl up. Reach, try to touch your calves, back down to release. 3 more here. You're sticking with your option 1, grabbing onto the thighs if you need that assistance. Option 2, no grab, pure ab strength. Reach, back down. Last one. Curl it up. Reach, back down. Good, now everybody's gonna curl up and we're gonna hold. Curl it up. Everybody reaches for your calves. Now you have little pulses, 1 inch up, 1 inch down. 1 inch up, 1 inch down. Now I know it's tempting to go fast on pulses. I actually want you to challenge yourself to go slow so that you get max contraction. Almost think of it as a hold and a hold, a squeeze and a release. 5 more, keep it small. 4. We got 3, 2, 1, and done. Good work, nicely done. Definitely should have felt those upper abs working. If there was any straining in your neck, make sure that you're using your hands for some assistance on that. So legs are coming back up to tabletop. All right, remember, knees over belly, getting the lower back into the mat, option 1, tabletop, option 2. Now squeeze your feet together, but keep your knees just a little bit apart. We're gonna lower both legs down towards the mat this time. Then use your abs to lift both legs back up. Now notice, my feet didn't go that low. It's not about necessarily getting your feet down. I want you to think back to that fishing image I gave you. As your legs lower, only go as low as you can handle. Now use your abs to lift your legs back up to tabletop. Repeat that again. If you want to take your hands, again, one hand above your belly button, one hand below. It's a good contact so you can check in. Make sure you're feeling your abs pull away from your hands rather than your abs popping out into your t-shirt. 5 more. 4. We got 3. Trying to think of your legs relaxing as much as possible. 2. 1 more. And rest. Give your knees a good hug towards your shoulders. Let your lower back relax. Kind of rock the knees side to side. All right, we got 1 more set of abdominals. So similar to what we did before. Option 1, you can still work with your feet down, and work that curl reaching for your calves if that's hard enough today. Option 2, tabletop your legs and the whole series with legs at tabletop. Hands down, curl just the head and shoulders up and hold. Grab on behind the thighs. Pull yourself up an inch or two higher. Let go, reach your arms long. Float the head and shoulders back down. We start the first 5 like that. Curl up, grab onto the thighs. Pull, let go, float down. That's 2. 3 more. Remembering if the tabletop is too challenging, just drop the feet back down to the mat and continue with the exercise here. That's 3. 2 more. Reach. 4. 1 more. Pull. Reach. Good. Now we eliminate the hand grab if you can handle it. Curl up. Give me an extra reach and float the head down. Curl it up. An extra reach and float back down. 3 more. Upper abs are working. Reach. Last 2. Reach. Give me one more good one. We got to stay up. On this last hold, freeze. Option 1, you grab on behind your thighs. Option 2, keep those arms reaching long, pulsing. 2, using the hands for assistance if your neck starts straining. Lift. You want to curl all the way up to the tips of the shoulder blades. Give me 10 more good ones. Remember, slow pulses is better. You get the max contraction and burn out of the abs. We have 6, 5, and 4. Last 3, 2, 1, and done. Good work. All right, guys, we're going to come on up to seated. So you can either rock up, or if you have any back issues, roll to the side and kind of help yourself up to seated. So we're going to sit with our knees bent. Feet are just planted on the mat. Your hands are going to grab on behind your thighs again. Now from here, start to round your spine. So tuck your butt and start to round backwards. As you round backwards, your toes will come up. Get a good scoop and go to the point where the arms are straight. Notice if your shoulders are riding up to your ears, let them go. Round back up. Just sit up tall at the top. Repeat that again. So yes, we're kind of leading up to like a sit-up, but I want you to think about mobilizing your spine. Round and sit up nice and tall. So the first thing to round back is your pelvis, your butt. Tuck your butt, thinking belt buckle to nose. Round back up. 2 more like this. You can use your hands as much or as little as you want. Lighter hands will make it harder. 1 more and I'm going to give you an option. Round it up. Option 2, you take the hands out of the exercise. Reach the arms forward, round it back. You're trying to get the same range of motion you did a second ago without the help of your hands. Round it back. Round it up. Lift tall. Round it back. Tucking your pelvis, belt buckle to nose. Use your abs, round it up. 2 more. We are going to finish off this set with some pulses. Round it up. Remember, on your pulses, option 1, your hands grab onto your hamstrings for help. Option 2, the arms stay here. All right, guys, get ready. It's 20 pulses. Round halfway back to a spot that you can hold. The pelvis doesn't move. The upper abs pulse 1 inch up, 1 inch back. 1 inch up, 1 inch back. Remembering, hands behind your thighs for an assistance. But notice how my butt isn't moving. I'm keeping that deep pelvic bone to nose. I'm using my upper abs to move my ribs. I want to think of my spine like a C shape, but it's a capital letter C, not a lowercase c. 6 more. 5. We got 4. Last 3. 2. All the way up. Take your feet together, take a butterfly stretch. Round over, drop your head, nice, easy release. All right, so from here, we're gonna lay down on our side. So I'm laying down on my left side, my left arm's overhead. My body's kind of in one straight line like I'm in a toaster. Now you can prop your head up with this left hand. Right hand's just gonna rest down on the mat. If this is uncomfortable for your head, you can totally rest your head down flat at any point. So now from here, bring your feet just a little bit forward in front of your body. Guys, this whole next series is gonna be about this top hip. So this hand's resting on the mat. Lift your right leg up to hip height and hold it. Flex your foot. Think about reaching your right leg longer than your left leg. When you get that length, you should feel a little oblique lift on this bottom oblique in the mat. We call that your mouse house. It's just enough room for a little mouse to crawl underneath that oblique in the mat, or just enough room for your fingers to go underneath. Your goal is to keep that through this whole next series. The leg goes up about 10-12 inches, it lowers down to hip height. The leg goes up, it lowers down to hip height. That's the exercise. So we're focusing on this lateral movement. We're working what we call your abductors, your outer hip. On the way down, think of working your inner thigh. Abductors on the way up, inner thigh on the way down. Lift and lower. Now again, I know it's tempting to move fast. In Pilates, you don't always move slow, but when you first start, you definitely should, just to try to find the correct muscles. Make sure you're doing the exercise properly, and you're not using too much momentum, so your muscles are working correctly. Lifting up and lowering down. So we have 30 more seconds. I'm gonna add a little movement in with the ankle if you can handle it. So we lift up with the flexed foot, we point the toes, we lower down to hip height. Flex the foot, up, point the toes down. If that's too much for you, just keep going with the lift of the leg and don't worry about the foot. It's a flex, up, point, lower, flex, up, point, down, flex, up, point, lower. We got 5. 4 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Flex your foot. Now lift the leg up to that top range. Hold it. I would say 10-12 inches above your hip. We're gonna pulse the leg up and down. 1. It's 30 seconds of pulses here. Now remember, I know it's so tempting to go fast on pulses, but again, then you're just riding momentum. Think of it as a squeeze and a squeeze. A squeeze, little. 1 inch up, 1 inch down. So max contraction of the muscle. Now I like to imagine that the air is thicker than it is. I almost like to visualize I'm in a swimming pool, and as the leg goes up and down, I'm working the resistance of the water. In 5 seconds, I'm gonna ask you to lower the leg to hip height. We finish off 30 seconds of pulses at hip height. Hold it hip height. Point your toes this time, pulse 1, 2, 30 seconds here. Now you're still thinking about the right leg reaching longer than the left, so you still should have that little bit of space underneath the oblique in the mat. Keep that length. Lifting up and up. Reach. We have 10 more seconds. 9, 8, 7, in 6, 5, 4, last 3, 2, 1, and done. Good work, guys. You can bend the knee to take a little breather, maybe give it a little pat, feel the burn. All right, we got one more thing before we switch sides. So just watch the camera as you're stretching here. My top leg's gonna be up at hip height. You can do pointed foot flex, or you could just relax it. I'm gonna draw basketball-sized circles with this top leg. So the goal is to have smooth circles, never turning my toes out, always staying parallel. Here we go, up and around 1. Now concentrate on those smooth circles. I'm gonna give my option 2 here. So option 1, this hand stays on the mat. Option 2, your hand goes to your hip. If you're going for option 2, I want you to focus on your abs, pulling away from these fingers, trying to keep your torso as still as possible. I know it's tempting to rock and roll through the torso. Try to stabilize it as much as you can. We're still circling in the same direction for another 10 seconds, then you gotta reverse it. In 5, 4, 3, 2, reverse. Go back up and around 1. Now remember, our goal is basketball-sized circles. As you start to fatigue, the circles will end up looking like pancakes, footballs, triangles. Do your best to focus on the muscle working 100% of the time. Smooth circles around. Lift. 10 more seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Last 3, 2, and rest. Good work. Nicely done, guys. Give yourself a little breather. Shake it out. So we're going to help ourselves up, and we're going to go right over to the other side. Now, heads up. The second set is usually always harder than the first because that bottom hip was working to stabilize, and now you're going to ask for it to do so much more work, it's not going to want to. So fair warning, we got to think mind over matter. So find the same position you did before, feet just a little bit in front of your body. Lift your top leg up to hip height. We flex the foot, lifting up, down. Keeping the foot flexed for now. It is a full minute of these about foot lifts, about 10 to 12 inches up and down. Inhale up, exhale down. Now, if your bottom hip is screaming at you, like mine is right now, you have the option to bend this knee. It will make it a little bit easier on that bottom hip. Straight legs a little bit harder. Lift and lower. Do what's best for you. Now we keep going with these leg lifts, but we add a little movement with the foot. I'm gonna go up, point the toes, down, flex the foot. Up, point the toes, down, flex your foot. It's up, point, down, flex, up, point. Remember to reach your left leg longer than your right. That helps to open up the hip flexor. It helps to elongate the waist so that bottom oblique is a little bit active. This upper shoulder is just relaxing. It shouldn't be working too much. 3, 2, we're gonna hold it up high. High range, now pulse. 1, keep the foot flexed. 2, squeeze the quad. Reach the leg long. Lift, we're focusing on outer hip muscles working. Up, up. Now imagine you're in that swimming pool. You're working the resistance of the water. Up, up. We got 10 seconds. Stay with me. High, don't let the leg fall down. Lift, lift. In 5, 4, last 3, 2, hold it up, lower it down to hip height, point your toes. Let's pulse here. It's 1, 2, guys, 30 seconds of pulses right at hip height, a long leg. You'll get a break after this. So if you want to close your eyes, focus on your breath, do whatever you need to, but mind over matter. All that means is you focus, you try to embrace the burn that's happening in that left leg. Keep stabilizing through your torso, abs are engaged. In 5, 4, last 3, 2, 1, done. Bend this knee, release the knee down, get a little stretch through this hip. We're gonna take your circles after this. Basketball size. Here we go. You pick a direction with that leg, start at hip height. Up and around 1. Remember, you can flex your foot, point your toes, or relax it. My option 2, this hand is on your hip. And I want you to concentrate on the abs firing under the fingertips. Now notice if your torso is swinging a lot, it just means you're not using enough abs, so put the hand back down, be light on the fingers, and focus. Reach. Circles, not triangles, squares, footballs, pancakes. Focus, smooth direction. Reverse. 30 seconds, not reps. Smooth circles. Now you might notice how your circles tend to go behind you, or maybe they're a lot to the front. Try to be even from front to back. 15 seconds. After this, we are gonna lay on our stomach and get a little spinal extension in. Now, oftentimes when people do spinal extension, back bends, you wanna feel your back muscles working, but we don't want there to be pain. Keep going with your circles, guys. 5 more seconds. So just listen for my cues. We wanna feel a little bit of ab support as we're getting that posterior chain, our back muscles working. Reps. All right, flip over on your stomach. So now we're gonna put our hands under our forehead. Rest your forehead down. Your toes are relaxed into the mat. Your legs are open. That's very important to me. So take your legs about the width of your mat or wider than your hips. Once you're in that position, I want you to think about tucking your pubic bone towards your nose again. So almost lift your abs up off the mat so you can fit a little grate between your belly button and the mat. Your goal is to not smush that grate. Now we're gonna lift our hands, our elbows, and our chest an inch or 2 off the mat. Now if you're looking forward, that means your neck is out of alignment. So drop your head down to your hands. Try to think about your shoulders gliding down your back out of your ears. Float back down. That's all we're doing. Repeat. Lift. Hold it. Back down. Now you should be able to see your elbows in your peripheral vision. Your head is still connected to your hands. I want you to think about drawing your shoulders down your back like you could slide them into the back pocket of your jeans. Try to avoid letting your shoulders hike up to your ears. Now my option 2, harder option, you get the legs involved. As the upper body lifts up, lift your legs up as well. Now hold here, everybody. Try to pull your abs in a little deeper, float back down. Remember, although this is a back exercise, hamstrings, glutes, and back muscles are firing, we have to think of a little ab support. So imagine again that grate or maybe even just a little pea between your belly button and the mat. You're trying to keep your abs lifted off of it. If there's too much pressure on your back and you're doing the legs, then eliminate the legs and just go back to the upper body. We have 3 more here. 2 more. Last one, we lift up and we hold it. Everybody up. Legs are up or down, your choice, but everyone pulses the upper body 1 inch up, 1 inch down. Now check to make sure that your neck is still long. Your elbows are still in your peripheral vision. I got 5, 4, 3, 2, and rest. Relax, breathe. Guys, hold here. Put your elbows back, hands are under your shoulders. Elbows are on the mat. Press your hands in the mat and just lift your chest up. Hold this extension. It should feel good on your back. Float back down to release it. Repeat that again. Lifting up, little extension, chest going forward, back down. Now if you want to go deeper, slide the hands under the shoulders, lift the elbows off the mat. Press up and try to keep your elbows off the mat. This is going to give you more range of motion into your extension. Back down. Repeat. If you're going for that option 2, please make sure that you do not straighten your arms. You're not going here where your shoulders are up to your ears. Elbows bent, shoulders down, neck is long. Everybody's going to give me 1 more. And release it down. All right, we're going to carefully push ourselves back to a child's pose. That looks like this. Butt comes up, knees tuck under. Slide the arms out as long as you can. Walk your fingertips forward and just stay here for a second. Try to get your butt as close to your heels as you can. Walk the fingertips forward another inch or 2 and try to breathe into your back ribs. 2 more breaths. 1 more breath and release it. Okay guys, we're flipping over onto our back again. So we have a little bit more ab work. Go back to that image I talked about where you were going fishing, right? This should be all about your abdominals. So we're laying down, the legs come back up to tabletop. If you have neck issues, you are more than welcome to keep your head down throughout this series. But if you can handle the challenge, we're going to try to curl up. So curl head and shoulders up and gaze in towards your belly. You should be all the way up to the tips of the shoulder blades. Press your hands down and try to curl up an inch higher. Now from here, single leg toe tap. Right leg lowers and lifts. Left leg lowers and lift. Now you have a clear eyesight of your abs. Think about using your abs like that fishing reel. Pull it in. Catch the fish, use your abs to lift it. Down and up. Now if you're starting to feel your neck at all, I want you to check in and make sure you're not getting stuck in limbo land. If you're looking at the ceiling, guys, it's going to strain your neck. I need you to curl all the way up to the tips of the shoulder blades. If you start struggling, you can grab on behind your thighs and use your arms for a little bit of assistance. Reach. 3 more. Last 2. 1 more. And rest, release it. Good. Drop your feet down. Let your knees open to a butterfly stretch. Relax here for a second. So that's a big deal when you're doing any kind of ab work with the upper body. Oftentimes people don't come up high enough and they end up looking to the ceiling. You really got to get all the way up in that curl because your head weighs 8 to 10 pounds. It's like a bowling ball. If you get stuck in that limbo land, all you're going to feel is your neck. Okay? Guys, we try the same thing with both legs now. Tabletop. Curl up. Hold that curl. Both legs down. Both legs up. 10. Inhale down. Exhale up. 9. Gazing into your belly. Lift. Again, if you cannot get out of the neck, head can totally stay down and just do the legs. Just know your range of motion might be a little less if your head is down. 3 more. Last 2. 1 more. Inhale down. Exhale it up and rest. Grab onto your shins, give your knees a good hug. All right, let's rock ourselves up to seated. So we're gonna flip back around on all 4s, hands and knees. So once you're down in this quadruped position, we start with some cat-cows. Round your back up, pushing down through your hands. Now arch your back and think belly hangs, butt sticks out. So we're going through spinal flexion and spinal extension. It should feel really good on your back. Round and scoop. Release it. 1 more time. Round and scoop. Easy release. Okay, we're gonna settle in between those 2 spots. Somewhere in between is what we call neutral. So I'm not rounded and I'm not hyperextended, I'm neutral. Once you're in this position, you're gonna hang on to this position. Now, hands stay spread out. I'm gonna bend my right knee and kick my right heel to my butt. I want to get my right heel as close to my right glute as I can. Hold there, keeping that position. Think a slight belt buckle to nose. Just a slight contraction of your abs. Your goal is to hang on to that. Now the right toes are going to lift up towards the ceiling. We're going to lower the knee down to tap the mat. We lift up and lower down. Now I know it's tempting to kick back. Try to keep your heel close to your butt as you're going up and down. Lift. Now in this position, because the leg is going up, it is so tempting to arch and go back into that cow stretch. Don't. Because if you do, it's going to get into your lower back. So challenge yourself to continue to think belt buckle to nose at all times. Now, if your wrists are bothering you or your lower back is bugging you, I'm going to give you an option. Drop down to your elbows and keep going. Those are your options. We're moving here for another minute. I like to exhale on the up and inhale on the down. Now, no matter which position you are with your arms, elbows or hands, you got one more option to make it harder. As the right leg goes up and down, you have the option to put the left hand on your hip. So by taking the left hand to the hip, we're involving a lot more core. Stay balanced. Now just check in with where your left hip is in space. Your left hip should be hovering over your left calf, not your left knee. So you're trying to sit back as much as you can. You got it. Fantastic. Breathing into it for 5 more seconds. We got 3, 2, stay with me now, hold that leg up, don't move. Flex your foot, reach through your heel. Now you're gonna think about stamping your heel on the ceiling. 1, 2, teeny tiny. Notice how just my leg is moving, not my back, right? That's gonna hurt my back. So think belt buckle to nose, just the leg. Remember that option to put the left hand on your hip to make it harder. Now you should definitely be feeling right glute, right hamstring. Breathe into it. Remember, pulses are slow. Max contraction, not a bounce. We got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower the knee down. Whew. Okay, you're halfway done with that leg. We're not done completely. So go back to that quadruped position, guys. Now still tuck that right heel into your butt. Same leg. We're taking fire hydrants. My knee opens to the side, and then it goes back down to tap the mat. I open to the side, go back down and tap. Open and tap. Again, you can totally do this on your elbows. Open. Now notice when my knee opens, I'm turning my head towards the camera, towards that knee, and back down. Lifting up and lower. Keep going. I'm going to give you another visual. It's up, down, up, down. Now, why is this called fire hydrant? Well, it's like you're a dog peeing on a fire hydrant. You have to get your knee up high enough to clear yourself. Lift. I know, lovely image, but it works. And it makes you feel that hip and glute working that much harder. Lift, lower, up, and down. You're here for another 5 seconds. Then we pulse to finish. Lift and lower, up and down. All right, get ready. Stay up, hold, now pulse it up. 1, 2, notice how I'm not just lifting my knee, my whole foot and knee is lifting. Up, up. Now guys, right glute is working. But are you kind of surprised that your left glute's burning? It should be. Think about putting more weight in your right hand to get that left glute to work a little harder. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, don't quit. 4, 3, 2, 1, and done. Whew. Sit your butt back towards your heels. Let's take a well-deserved break. Take your hands to the right side of the mat. Shift your hips to the left. Oh, big stretch. Take your hands to the left. Hips to the right. Well-deserved stretch. All right. We have the whole thing on the other side. I'm going to turn around so you can see me, but we're doing left leg now. So drop down, find all fours. Tuck your left foot into your butt. Try to keep it as close to your butt as you can. We lift the leg. Up, down. So remember, right hand on the hip is harder. Taking one point of contact away from the mat makes us fire our abs more. I want you to notice if you're arching when your leg comes up. all you're gonna feel is your lower back. So really tuck belt buckle to nose and try to hang on to that as the leg lifts and lowers. Remember, if your wrists are bothering you, you can drop down to your elbows, but try to keep your hip over your right calf. If my hip is over my knee, I'm feeling too much shoulders. So sit it on back. Let's put the work in the core and the glutes. Lift and lower. If you're on your elbows, you still have that option to put the right hand on the hip. Lift and lower. Now, just like that side lying series we did earlier, the second side is always harder because that stabilizing hip was already working on the previous round. Lift and lower. 10 more seconds here, then we got our pulse round. This first set is a longer set than the fire hydrants, FYI. I got you on the clock, don't worry. Hold it up, flex your foot. Now stamp the heel up on the ceiling. Notice how my knee is at about a 90-degree angle. I'm not stamping back behind me. I'm not straightening my leg. You want to think up with the knee, up. So the work is coming from what I call my glute hamstring attachment, which is your smiley face. Think about working from there. 20 more seconds. Lift, lift. Fire hydrants are coming next. In 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, and 6, 5, we got 4, last 3, 2, and 1. Tap the knee down. Keep the foot close to your butt. We open the knee to the left. Look to the left, tamp the knee down. Up, down. It's okay to turn your body a little bit. When my left knee lifts, I'm definitely feeling my right glute firing. Trying to hold that leg at that 90-degree angle as I lift, lower. The foot and the knee are lifting. Right glute is working to turn. Remember, right hand on your hip, harder option. Lift and lower. Good news, we're almost done with this set. You have 18 seconds. We pulse up and down for 20 pulses, then we're done with this. Breathing into it, 10, 9, still moving big. In 5, 4, 3, 2, hold it up, pulse, 1, 2. Notice how my foot and my knee are lifting. Up, up. Now see if you can put a little bit more weight into that left hand. So my right hand's almost light. Lift. If it's on your hip, then you definitely feel that right hip working. 6, 5, 4, last 3, 2, 1, and done. Butt back towards the heels. Let's take that child's pose with the hands to the right, hips leaning to the left, so you get a nice stretch through the whole left side of your body. And then switch, hands to the left, hips to the right. Get a nice stretch through the whole right side of your body. All right, guys, we are gonna try one more ab set, and I'm gonna give you options to make it harder. So if the toe taps were hard enough for you today, stick with it. And remember, head can be down if you have any neck issues. If you can handle the curl, you wanna get all the way up. Our harder option is going to be to take the legs further away from our body. So it's gonna look like this. Single leg, you're gonna still stick with that toe tap, option 1. Harder option 2, you're extending the leg out and in, reaching as long as you can. All right, here we go. Curl up if your neck can handle the curl. I'm going option 2. Reach, pull, reach, pull. Nice work. Now I know it's tempting to want to do this. Just know that if your hands are behind the head, it makes it harder. Because look, I kind of fell back. I got to stay in that high curl. So I like hands by the hips. It helps me keep my curl at my max range, which actually makes my abs work harder. If you're doing toe taps, stick with it. Now guys, in 10 seconds, I'm gonna ask you to switch the legs like a pair of scissors, like this. If you're going straight legs, you're reaching out like this, and we're picking up the tempo. Here we go, it's 10, 10, 9, 9, 8, 8, 7, 6, hang on, 5, reach 4, we got 3, 2, 1, and done. You can bring the knees in, put the feet down if you want, rock the knees side to side. We got one more set. It's going to be double leg. So if you're sticking with your toe taps, you're gonna be here, lowering and lifting. Harder option, you reach out and in. Now keep in mind that you can always go higher to make it easier with the legs. Option to keep the head down if you want. Here we go. Extend out, slow. Reach, scoop. Now if your head and shoulders are up, gaze in towards your belly. You should be able to see your abs pulling away from your shirt. Definitely feel the abdominals working. Inhale and exhale. Now whatever breath works for you as long as you are breathing. 5, 4, in 3, 2, 1, and done. Good work. Okay, we're gonna flip back over. I want you back into your quadruped position. So hands are on the mat, knees are on the mat. All right guys, so not a round back, not a spinal extension, we're neutral. So I want you to find that flat back position. Imagine I could balance a cup of coffee on your back or water and it's not gonna spill. Toes are curled under. You're gonna hover your knees 1 or 2 inches off the mat and we're just gonna hold. Spread your fingers out. Big toe, pinky toe are in the mat. You got thumb, pointer finger, and pinky finger pressing down. Just lower the knees back down. Now if you have knee issues and that doesn't feel good, you can totally take just a full plank and hold here. Here we go, 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, back down. Okay, we have 3 more sets. On this next set, I want you to concentrate to make sure you're 50-50 between your arms and your legs. Lift up. So I'm not leaning into my arms. I'm not pushing my butt behind my knees. I'm 50-50. Back down. 2 more rounds. Lift. No matter which version you're doing, straight legs or bent knees, you should have your shoulders over your wrists. Spread the fingers out, actively push your arms into the mat. Back down. 1 more round. Lift it up, hover, hold. Stay here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, and rest. Child's pose, butt to the heels, stretch it out, big release. All right, guys, we're gonna have a seat. Crisscross applesauce your legs, just like this, sitting up nice and tall through your waist. Put your hands behind your head. So when the hands are behind the head, you should be able to see your elbows in your peripheral vision. Take a big lift, and we're just gonna twist to the right, then back to center. Twist to the left, and back to center. Lifting up and over to the right. Center, twist to the left. This should feel good. 1 more each side. Other way. Now we're gonna stay in the middle and pause here. We side bend up and over to the right. Try to keep this left hip anchored. You should feel a nice stretch through the side of the waist. Lift back up. Up and over the other way. Big stretch. Lift back up. 1 more each side. And I'm gonna give you an option to go a little deeper. Other way. All right, side bend to the right. Take your right hand down on the mat. Now if you can, drop that elbow down if that's available to you. Reach this other arm overhead and take a nice big stretch. Breathe here. If you can't get your elbow down, it's okay. Keep the arm straight and just stretch here. Now no matter which option you're doing, stay there. Rotate down towards the mat. Reaching your left hand to tap the mat. Open back out to that side stretch. Repeat 3 more times. 2 more. Last one. All the way up. Put the hands back behind the head, side bend over. Left hand goes to the mat. Reach the right arm. Drop the elbow if you have that availability. Breathing the rib cage away from the hip. Rotate. And open. 4 more. And open. Last 3. 2 more. Last one. All the way up. Release, fantastic. We're gonna come up on all 4s, and we're gonna take a little hip flexor stretch. So most of us are spending so much more time seated, whether at a desk, in our cars, sitting on the couch. So we wanna stretch out the hip flexors. So we're gonna step our left foot forward. Hands are gonna go down. Slide your right knee back a little bit so you're not on your kneecap, you're a little bit in front of it. Once you're there, hold. Take your hands up on top of your thigh. Now, if you cannot balance here, you can scoot yourself closer to a wall, your couch, a coffee table. Hold something to help you. Now, rather than just hanging down, I want you to push off this left leg to come up a little bit. And then I want you to think about your right hip. Let's go back to that image of belt buckle to nose. Tuck your butt, pulling your belt buckle up to your nose. When you do that, your right glute should fire, and you should feel a nice right hip flexor stretch. So very different than hanging down. We're pushing off the left leg, tucking belt buckle to nose. That gets us a really, really nice hip flexor stretch. One more breath. Release it. Take the hands down, bring that leg back, and you're gonna switch other side. I'm gonna turn so you get a good visual of me in the camera. Right foot forward, slide your left knee back. Climb up, grab a wall or something if you need help balancing. Now push off your right leg, left, tuck. Again, glute fires. You're thinking pubic bone to nose, belt buckle to nose, hold. Relax your shoulders. I know when we stretch, it's tempting to tighten and hold on for dear life. Try to think about the right muscles contracting. That would be your glute and your abs. But the other muscles relaxing. Hip flexor, shoulders, let it go. And release it. All right, let's grab onto that hand towel so we can take some additional stretches laying down on our back. So we got our hand towel in our hands. Lay it on down. Let's hook it on our left foot. Send the left leg up towards the ceiling and just hold the ends of the towel. Now, I don't care if that left leg can get straight. It's not important. I want you to focus on your body's flexibility. So if the knee has to be bent, that's okay. Let's think about trying to drop our butt down. Go back to the beginning of class when I talked about ladybugs underneath your lower back on the mat. Your goal is to try to keep those ladybugs alive. Now, if you need a deeper stretch, slide the right leg long on the mat and hold there. If you're not getting a left hamstring stretch, then try straightening the leg a little bit more, but don't tuck your butt. If you want an even deeper stretch, flex your foot, relax your shoulders. Let's close our eyes and take 3 big breaths. 2 more breaths. And as you exhale, maybe bend your arms to give that leg a little extra love. 1 more breath. We're going to switch. Right leg comes into the towel. Left foot goes on the mat to start here. Notice if this side is tighter or looser. Make room for the ladybugs. Slide the left leg long. Now, if there's any pressure behind the back of the knee, it just means that your leg is really tight. So bend the knee a little bit. Try to pull the leg towards you. We want the stretch to be more in the meat of the hamstring, not behind the back of the knee. 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. Release that. Take the towel. Let it just drop down on your hips. Let your knees open to the side. Take your arms up to a T and just relax. Close your eyes. We're going to keep our left knee where it is. Take your right knee and fold it all the way over to the left knee. A spinal twist. You can turn your head to the right. If you want an additional stretch, grab onto your right knee with your left hand and give a little love, a little pull. Lift it up through the center and switch. Twist the knees to the right. Turn the head to the left. Grab onto the left knee if you want to give it a little extra love, a little pull. Ooh, I just got a little spinal crack. 1 more breath. Bring yourself up. You can slowly come on up to seated. You guys are all done. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope your bodies are feeling great. I hope you stay safe, healthy, happy. Take care.